dear brothers and respected sisters, I greet you all with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. All praise is due to Allah. We bear witness and we testify that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we bear witness and we testify that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his messenger and his slave. All salawats and salams be upon the Prophet, upon his noble family, his righteous companions, and all those who follow his path till the last day. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, inshallah today we will talk a little bit about one of the most important events that happened during the time of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that is the Hijrah, the migration of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam from Mecca to Medina. And as you know, every single year we do talk about this important event that changed the course of the entire history of Islam. You know, just remember, and every time you think about this event, you know how difficult it was for the Prophet ﷺ and also for his companions, leaving their own homeland, a place where they were born, a place where they had all the wealth, a place where they knew everyone. Imagine if someone would come to you, especially for those of you that are born and raised in this country, you know everyone here, you know about everything about Melbourne. And imagine straight away, without any notice, someone will come and say to you, now we have this time for us to leave, and when you leave, you're not able to take anything with you. So you leave everything behind. And it's not all. You don't just leave wealth behind, but also you leave your own family members, those people that haven't embraced Islam yet. Might be your mother, your father, your siblings, your cousins, leaving all those things and all those people behind and going to another place where majority of them knew nothing about. Because back then, not everyone was able to travel from Mecca to Medina. It's 400 something kilometers. And it takes weeks, you know, to travel by a camel or just by walking. You know, it takes a long time. And imagine all those people have done this solely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and solely to fulfill that obligation that Prophet ﷺ told them. Imagine even if our own father would say to us, we would say, hey, what are you talking about? Sometimes when we take our kids overseas, or kids that they don't know any other country but Australia, a lot of them hesitate. Said, Father, no, you can go, but I'm staying here. All my friends are here. Everyone that I know is here. For us that are born and raised overseas is a different thing. I'm talking about our children here. So the lesson that we can learn from the migration of the Prophet ﷺ and even the companions from Mecca to Medina, there are many lessons that we can learn even today after 1,400 something years ago. SubhanAllah. Why that happened? That didn't happen for the Prophet ﷺ himself. No, this happened so Islam can flourish. And this happened so all of us that came after that generation, we can learn something from this event that happened during the time of Prophet ﷺ. Now, how do we translate Hijrah? You know, migration of the Prophet in today's day and age. How do we translate this word itself, Hijrah? Because nowadays, we don't migrate from one place to another. Alhamdulillah again. And I just want to say this as a side note for myself and for you all, my dear brothers and sisters. Alhamdulillah. And we should feel blessed that we live in a country such as Australia. Alhamdulillah, that we are able to pray freely. We are able to build mosques. We are able to go pray 5 daily prayers. We are able to fulfill our obligations. Wallahi, this is a ni'mah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therefore, as Muslims, we should do a lot more to make this place a better place. Not just about our Muslim community here. This is about, even when we hear about anything that happens in Australia, we should be the ones that out there. And I just want to mention this because I'm quite disappointed, to be honest. One of our sisters in New South Wales, I forgot her name, she died from bashing from her own ex-husband. This happened exactly 8-9 days ago. Now, they left 3 kids, 6 years old, 4 years old, and 2 years old. Imagine, he will be in prison, she is dead. Regardless whose fault it is, who will suffer the most are those children that are left here. The government might take them, they might send to some non-Muslim homes, and they're going to grow up, and people are going to say, you're the son or the daughter of that murderer, of that person. So they will always feel that guilt. But what I'm more disappointed is because I haven't seen so far any peer Muslim organizations that talked about it. No one went out there to say, hey, we are against violence. We are against this regardless to whom it happens. As Muslims, we have to raise our voice. It's not just about the Muslim sister here. Even if a non-Muslim lady that would be killed from her former husband, we Muslims should be the first one out there to say, hey, we condemn this. This is against human rights, and this is against our religion, Islam. Nowadays, what we do, now it's just about here, and I don't want people to be upset with me, and who knows whose fault it is. We are not judging whose fault it is. That belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What we are saying is that things like that should never happen. No one will be able to justify violence as a result for someone to die. No one can justify this. But we Muslims, and especially I mind us imams and religious leaders, wallahi, we are not doing anything. Nothing. A lot of us, I should say, now when we get comfortable, we got some of them got good wages, some of them good community, they don't want to be, people to be against it. Wallahi, to say the truth, to say the haqq, people will always be against you. Why I say that? And I connect this with the Hijrah of the Prophet ﷺ. Why did Prophet ﷺ migrate? Is it because he wanted to? No, they were persecuted. His friends and his family and even himself. And Prophet ﷺ always put his mission and Islam before himself. He didn't care what people do to him. He said, no, this is about Islam. This is about my mission. And the mission of the Prophet is what? Is the same mission that we imams should follow. And that is always saying the truth no matter what. No matter whom against that truth is. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, and He said, even if that truth is against your own parents, even if that truth is against yourself, you should always say, are we doing enough? Even as a Muslim community, that lady that I'm talking about, that sister, that could have been one of your daughters, one of our daughters, one of our sisters. Don't think that no, it happened over there. And I just mentioned, you've heard of this person, Nasruddin Hoja. They say he said few things here and there. He says something profound. I don't know whether he said it or not, but it's relevant to our topic today. Someone went to him and he said, you know what happened? A crime happened in this particular place. He said, thank God it's not in my town. Thank God it's not in my town. Next time, same thing happened in his town. You know what I said? Thank God it's not in my village. Next time it happened, he said, thank God it's in the village, but it's not in my family. You see these things? If it happens once, it can happen again and again and again, and it can come as close as, so it could be one of your family members. How would you feel? How would I feel, my dear brothers and sisters? So Prophet ﷺ migrated from Mecca to Medina for this particular reason. So how we translate this word is, so Hijrah is a process of transfer to a better situation, to enable you to be productive in this dunya. So how do we learn from Hijrah? Yeah, I can make a Hijrah, but Hijrah doesn't mean me going from one place to another, but it means for me going from one situation to another. For you, I might make a Hijrah from my previous past, my previous life, my previous situation to a better life. By leaving behind all those sins, all those people that affected me to commit those sins, and migrate to a better situation and stick around with people that remind you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a spiritual hijrah, migration that every single one of us can make, my dear brothers and sisters. This is how we learn from the hijrah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But to do that, what do we need? Prophet ﷺ didn't make hijrah and just overnight to say, that's it, we are going. No, Prophet ﷺ, what he did, he pre-planned the journey. So even you or myself, changing from one situation to another, without preparation, it won't be successful. It won't be successful. So we have to pre-plan that journey, that spiritual journey, to say, no, if I want to change, first I need to do certain things. First, I need to get rid of these things. I need to stay away from these people. I need to stay away from these tools, from these places, in order for me to succeed. And in order for me, that spiritual journey, that hijrah, to be successful for me. Why? Because we learn from our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet he prepared even transportation. He planned everything, and then he made it happen. Same thing with us. By sitting down and by sipping Turkish coffee or chai or tea or whatever you drink, things will never change. Nothing will happen. But what we have to do? Plan and then act. Same as our Prophet ﷺ. And once we do that, once we pre-plan our journey, or spiritual journey, or even place, or whatever it is that might be relevant to us, number one is we have to plan it properly. Because some people say, I just did this and it didn't work. Yeah, but you can't do just things like that. You plan everything first. Number two, it is very important. We have to put our trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to put our trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because even our Prophet ﷺ, his journey was easy to travel from Mecca to Medina, when all those people were after him, to the point that he had to enter that cave, to the point that even his best companion, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was scared. He wasn't scared for himself. He was scared for our Prophet ﷺ, to the point that Allah acknowledged that. And then what he said, La tahzan in Allah. Don't grieve. Don't be scared, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us. So if you do the right thing in life, if you do everything what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked us to do, wallahi, never be scared. People might be against you. Even if the entire world is against you, if you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is behind you, wallahi, that is good enough. All what we do today, as imams, as Muslims in general, we care too much about what other people think. And if I do this, what this person is going to say, I'm going to hurt someone's feelings. So they don't care much about what Allah thinks, but they care about what other people think. If that was the case, Prophet ﷺ would never migrate from Mecca to Medina. Would never. Because he never He never cared what other people did. His mission was the most important part. And this is very important, my dear brothers and sisters. And also, as I mentioned to you, alhamdulillah that we live in a place such as Australia, and you don't feel that Australia is a foreign place to you. Australia is our home. We have to put this in our heads, always. Australia is our home. How would you like your home to be? Don't you want your home to be a better place? If you're able to do all your religious duties, if you're able to work and to provide for yourself and your family in an honorable way, that is good enough to be your home. That is good enough to be close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Prophet ﷺ and his companions, they were not able to do these things. They were not able to pray in public without mocking and persecuting and all those things. Alhamdulillah, in this place we are able to do all those things. And therefore, we should consider Australia to be our home. And this is very important because this is the home of our children, whether we like it or not. And if it's the home of our children, why do we have that back home mentality even now? Why do we only care about what happens to our lands over there, or countries where we come from? And I'm the same as you, I'm not different, but it's still wrong. Why we never care what happens here? But if it happens something in your homeland, you go watch debates and news all night because it's happening over there. Even though that does not affect you or your family whatsoever. But things that happen here that might not affect you. But we have to think in the long run that everything that happens in this country will affect either our children or our grandchildren. So we have to do more, my dear brothers and sisters. And also, we have to always persist. Don't think that you try something and you fail. No, that is just a test for you. We have to always persist to try to make this place a better place for our children. No, I've tried. No, we have to try first with ourselves. Change ourselves first. That hijrah that I talked about should be about ourselves first. To change ourselves. We're not able to change the world, what's happening in Ukraine or whatever those countries. We have to start with ourselves, with our family members, with our mosques, our community, and the country that we live in. But how we can change when we never tried anything? And when we try anything, that is something that is very dangerous. Remember this. Why? Because Shaitan whispers in our ears and says, you look at yourself in the mirror and say, what are you talking about? Look at me, mashallah. So he says to himself, mashallah. So he's so satisfied with himself that there is nothing wrong with him. He can't be better than that. Wallahi, that is from Shaitan. We should always try to be better because no one is perfect. Don't try to compare yourself with those people that don't do anything. They never put their head in sajda to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that is an element that shows that your iman is weak. Your faith is weak. We have to compare ourselves with those people who are higher than us, so we can try to encourage ourselves to be like them. And also, remember that with difficulty always comes ease. This is mentioned in the Quran. Twice it's mentioned in the Quran. Nothing comes easy in this dunya. Nothing comes easy without trying. And when you try, you're going to find difficulties. But always think of the goal, that what you will achieve with Allah's help. And know that everything that what you're going through right now, there is a destination. The end result is something that you are trying to make a change. Something that you can be proud when you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hereafter. But when we don't try, we Muslims have become so lazy. I just can't describe it. And if you compare us with the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, and next generation, we should be embarrassed of ourselves. Why? Because we're focused only about this dunya. I've got my wage, I've got my family, I've got my home. Why should I care what happened to that sister? If she got bashed or not? Why should I care? We should care because we are Muslims. We should be like one body. If your toe hurts, your entire body hurts. Are we like that? If something happens to a Muslim sister or brother or family, do we feel anything? Do we try to do anything? So we are not like Muslim Ummah anymore, because we don't care about each other anymore. And also, my dear brothers and sisters, when Prophet ﷺ went to Medina, he didn't just sit down and stay in the mosque and drink coffee or tea or whatever. No, he worked very hard. And Medina was not like the Medina today. You know, I told you before, Medina was very corrupted when Prophet ﷺ migrated to Medina. It was very corrupted. A lot of prostitution, a lot of bad things, because to them was very normal. Very normal, to the point that even a companion of the Prophet ﷺ came to him, Ya Rasulullah, can I marry this prostitute? And he thought that what she's doing is a job to her. That's how the situation was. Trust me, every woman that used to be like that, they used to put a flag in front of their home, house, to say that I am that kind of person. I'm doing that kind of business. Medina was full of those houses. So Prophet didn't just sit down. Prophet straight away built the mosque. Prophet straight away worked hard himself with the companions together. He wasn't just ordering people to do this and that. No, he was leading. And that's why he is the most successful leader in the world, my dear brothers and sisters. So every time when there is an event that happened during the time of the Prophet or in Islamic history, don't just read it as a history. Try to learn something. Try to practice that in your life and see how that can change your life and the life of Muslims of today. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those that Allah is pleased with us in this world and the next year. To make us of those that we follow the sunnah of the Prophet as he wished. Oh Allah, make us of those that we care, we feel, we love one another only for your sake. Make us of those that we are able to feed ourselves and our families with halal and to stay away from haram. Oh Allah, make us of those that we will be able to drink from the howl of the Prophet on the day of judgment, Ya Rabbil Alameen. And make us of those who will be the neighbors of the Prophet in Jannah, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Ameen, Ameen. وأقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه سيستغفر الله إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.